the 80% attack speed steroid, get that one maxed out at level 13. So really nice for the Corki if he wants to be able to do that, insane amount of damage when he gets all the items picked up. But Nidalee by itself farms well, good at skirmishing, good at, scouting around the map. Just a champ who can fall behind and become completely useless if, not given the resources it needs.
And certainly needs to find a way to get onto the map very quickly to find those resources, right? Be it go to upside with the Aatrox, rely on those Infernal Chains, or perhaps go towards the bot lane and link up nicely with Hexflash to get the party started with a ton of CC. And speaking of them, he's already up here in the top lane, looking for a little bit of level 1 cheese. Mayfan taking his time, actually going to plant a ward in that middle bush just to help out Chungy. And I guess you can tell who calls the shots on this team here, Tally.
This is just a very old, range versus melee top lane interaction. You always want to get vision of that bush to make sure that if, Doraemon on Aatrox walks in and out of that bush, he is going to be, still be in vision of Chungy and is going to be able to poke him. Jovi doing a really good job with the Gatling gun to bully out the Orianna, and this is why Corki's so strong. He's able to punish these mages who are usually really good at, spacing and poking level 1, but Corki just stands in front of the minion wave with the Gatling gun on and will just do all your health. Yeah,
just says good luck, try and juke this one. And we know that Orianna can be so phenomenal, has on multiple occasions bullied out when it has been a control mage versus control mage game. But on this occasion, and given the fact that we are just seeing, Corki Tristana all day, every day, there's no reason not to lock it in and no reason not to get a lead with it. And you talk about the aggression that Jovi's shown in the past. Let's see if that's going to be their undoing, whether or not Mayfan then says, you know what, I've got a bit of a bounty on your head. I'm going to be camping mid.
Yeah, I have talked a lot about his aggression. I think that, with the Yone being banned, it's probably a nice thing for them in a game 1. I think in a best of series, it's just nice to have that sort of champion in your pocket. But, playing the stable style Corki, well, it's a champ you can still be aggressive on, but just allows you to have more tools, use that Valkyrie to escape the engage coming out of the enemy. Plus, you're inherently already a ranged champion, so you can play much safer. But level 2 first, and I'll talk about what happens in this bot lane.
Yeah, double flash burnt by both supports there. Shinky trying to buffer it quite nicely with the hook as Hexflash jumps in with that Zenith Blade. And in the end, actually, the damage goes on opposite members, and you have to wonder, all right, yeah, Shinky can't engage anymore, but now Styx is critically low.
Yeah, and even though this was the initial level 2 for Ion, the damage went on to Shinky. He does have access to those potions, which he is burning through now. Health is coming back. The health advantage is going towards Dials, but they need to crash this third wave before, any volatility comes out, because there is an invade happening right now. And, I'm always going to favor the team with the point-and-click CC in the Leona for the skirmish.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you're really looking at Cole Lee showcase that, look, I can do everything. Oh, here we go again. Hexflash using just that to look for the kill. Oh, no Styx, that's a tragedy. He's flashed to try and get the kill. In the end, though, he's put himself as target number 1. The focus is there. And now Katsuri across that wall says, Shinky, put your life on the line for me and I will play cleanup crew. It's a double for the Nidalee. Not only does he go for the blue buff and steal, he's then taking all your teammates as well. Shovi! Oh, no way! What a flash! 11 HP and he lives!
Oh, no.
Well.
Imagine being like, I'm going to go for a wolf kit. What? Hold up a second. There's a free Corki here, 300 gold, 2 Mayfan, and they're still extended on this trade. One of the benefits of, Collie running this Conquest, these extended skirmishes are so nice to him. Gets that one stacked up, has that extra, bit of adaptive force in the early game, which really changes these skirmishes. And even though, Styx sort of into there, did even use the barrier, did fall down and gave the enemy that instant, kill onto him. Collie was untouched and paired it up with Hexflash being so tanky. There's always so much damage coming out of Katsuri. So 1 skirmish for them.
That certainly is. And, well, when you mentioned these junglers need to get on the ball nice and early, given the fact that they had the majority of the kills so far, certainly a telling sign as to how this game is looking to try and play on out. Mayfan with level 3, having been denied of his own buff, is thinking, well, what is there left for me to do on the map? I'll peel and protect, I'll hover bot lane and see if there's Nidalee pass here or if we look for any gank in particular. In the end, though, we'll just say, well, you steal my camps, I'll steal yours.
Yeah, this is very, very brave by Mayfan. I thought, this was going to be the dive. They're going to try a 1-1 on Styx to die in the way, but he just recognizes Coley's path based on the invade, knows when the golems are going to respawn, and waits for that one to pick himself up, that nice little bit of the consultation prize from the early game.
That's it. I mean, you see now Jovi already back to lane with a tier as well as a Cole, feeling very strong and very successful at this lane. You know what? I can look to try and greed this as much as possible and make sure that this Corki spike will be through the roof. We've talked about it in the past, right? When we've seen these kind of competitions, the battle between a Trinity Force user and that of a crit scaler. And certainly if, Jovi and Styx, keep ahead of the pace, they will run this mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that There is no clear scaling for me because I think the Jace pick, can match up those AD carries in late game with like the straight up burst he does apply. I always give scaling to whoever has the, the ease of doing damage, and, with the, Xin Zhao being able to create so much space for you in the late game with the control mage, it's just easier to do damage overall. Whereas you look at Ion's comp, they kind of rely on Hex Flash setting up any damage to them. Without, Leona going in, none of them can really walk up to the, the straight up damage that's going to come out of the enemy. So I think that Dials has that ease of access, has the ease of team fight, going as the game extends. So I would say that they feel more comfortable as this game goes on.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of setup for them to work with, and whether or not it works in that way is another story entirely, but an opportunity for them to answer back for sure. We're going to see Coley now already rock his way up to the grubs, preemptive on the spear, but he's ready to go. And it looks like there's no contest from this one based on the fact that both top and mid are locked in place. And as you can see there, once again, it is this night of teams battling out for fourth spot. Divals do need a 2-0. That is simply no other scenario in which they can edge out for that spot. It is 2-0 or die.
Yeah, this is do or die for Dials, but Ion, as we had the interview with Styx, they only need that one win to be able to lock in fourth for them. And if Ion does get that one win, the rest of the seedings are locked in, as we do see the Valkyrie ultimate on Emphas still has that flash.
It's a lot of damage though. There's no way to answer back. That is the icing on the cake of a tragedy of a misplay with the self-cast of the Shockwave down to bot lane, and another fight breaks out, and this one also seemingly going Ion's way. Shinky with the barrier. As the shield is good, but the max range and the hook, as he says, Mayfan's here, we can turn it around, but Shinky's jumped the gun a little bit too early. Does he die as a result? Hex Flash gonna jump back in with his dying breath. And they say, hang on a minute, how do we escape that of an Ashe that we're not even focusing? All this uptime for an AD carry, we've seen this so many times now, Tally, and they can't just keep getting away with it.
It's so funny, Skimmy, when you watch that trade, if you get to see the replay, you get to watch Hex Flash when he has that W activated. His health bar is just not moving. It does not change at all. Whereas you look at Shinky, he's getting absolutely demolished by the damage coming out of both members from Ion in that trade. But as soon as that W drops, they go for that re-engage. They know that Xin Zhao in this upfront burst is going to be much stronger than Nidalee if she cannot land those spears. And this trade just, it looked very one-sided until the junglers showed up.
It certainly did. It all starts with the amount of burst that both an Ezreal and Leona can offer. Shinky being the focus. They just ignore Katsuri. They just simply ignore him. But then as the fight goes on and on and on, it swings back against them.
Yeah, and it just looked like such a good play for Ion initially, but with Mayfan coming in at the last second, with Shinky trading his life with the re-engage, so really good job that they were able to get some kills onto the bot side of the map, and with Mayfan finally having those kills now, he is a champ who can absolutely take over this game because there is no major melee threat that can take him out this game.
Certainly isn't. He's gone for the Eclipse already so early on. Only 8 minutes into the game. He's really looking to try and showcase that AD carries. You can be strong, but it does not matter. Clutch on the heel as Colley's there to protect Shinky from, protect Jovi from Shinky, I should say. Oh. And that True Shot Barrage nearly could have been a little bit of a doomer as that would have been 0-3 on the Orianna. It's certainly not a spot you want to be in. Mayfan flashing forward. Primal Surge is good. Asharu from downtown not going to connect. And this mid lane gank, man, I mean, this went on for ages.
Yeah, it was a very extended fight, but this is the power of Nautilus Zen, Skimmy. Pair them up, point and click, with the, don't have access to ult, but, can use that auto attack, root the enemy, pair it up with your hook. Set up for the Xin Zhao. Already has his first item completed. We're not used to really seeing the Eclipse being that first item on Xin. We're used to seeing the Bruiser option. But, Mayfan recognizes he is extremely fed this game. He's versing, majorly squishy enemy comp, so he can go for that very aggressive option and completely blow this game open in the early game.
That's exactly it. Why do I need to be tanked if I can just win the game on my own? Whether I go for a gank, a fight is one as a result of that one. You can see top lane would be the closest of all the lanes so far as they trade back and forth and really weave in the ability to showcase what a melee ranged matchup can just be. Does certainly seem though that Chang'e is going to be losing the battle of the sustain. And does mean that if a jungler were to pay any attention to this matchup, that they can certainly influence it even further in their direction. At the 10-minute mark then, there is nothing separating these two teams. Both even on gold and both even on the kills.
Yeah, I think the major separation for this game is definitely the mid lane. You mentioned in, what you thought would be the difference. It was going to be the mid lane. We're asking Joey just completely, by himself, gapping the mid lane department right now. And this is just the strength of Corki. Chang'e does not have the flash. He doesn't feel confident walking up under his turret, waiting for his team to get here, and here they are.
Yeah, they certainly are. Mayfan's so strong. Double buff Eclipse. He's ready to go. He says, Chang'e, just hop on my back. I'll take you for a ride and we'll get some action in your favor. He gets that kill before he then gets swiftly put to rest. So yeah, you can have our Aatrox, but if you've forgotten about this man in the mid lane now, 4-1, and he's still got that Carl on top of things, so with a champion bounty and that to cash in, Jeff Bezos levels.
More than likely, he's going to have that Triforce on base. He's based on getting those 2 kills, being almost 10 CS per minute. Very used to seeing that, 10-11 minute mark for the Corki Triforce. So Jody very accelerated this game with those double buffs, going to constantly keep chipping away at that turret. With the grubs coming up again, with the priority in both mid and tops, could be 6 grubs going towards his team.
And it's just not fair at this stage for Emphis, so bullied away from this tower. Collie just needs to sit in that bush and say, yeah, I know that you know I'm here, but what are you going to do about it? You're zoned away, you can't find anything, you have to rely on your bot lane, and that's exactly what they'll do. Mr. President, the VIP himself in Katsuri, gets, spoon-fed yet another kill. And yeah, you can be very squishy as this Nautilus, but they're fun in the fights.
Changyi is caught out of position here, walking back to top side. If this route doesn't come back to him, so he's going to be able to walk this one off. But they even might go for the dive, still Skimmy.
So they're looking for it, the spear goes sideways, the knock-up not coordinated with them, but they still go for it because the damage is absurd. Those two together, they do a little bit too much, and now you start to get worried about top and mid falling further and further behind.
This is the problem with Jace top Skimmy. It's so important that, deny a good first base to your lane opponent just through your champion be such a strong, early game pick. And unfortunately, Doraemon does get himself those ninja tabbies on that first base. When you do get to level 7, have more cooldown in that queue. This matchup isn't so one-sided anymore, and because, there is no gank threat onto Doraemon, but there is onto Changyi, he's able to grab control of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest loser at this stage for Ion would have to be Styx, right? You've obviously gone for the first pick on that Ezreal. It is your signature champion, but you've been targeted, and you have, lost that flipping of the coin on a few different occasions. I think Mayfun is thinking, well, I'm incredibly strong. This is an area that we can look to exploit time and time again. It is a bit of a gamble, though, because they have sacrificed all 6 of those Void Grubs, and certainly are going in for that one direction of, well, it's all about Katsuri one more time. Solar Flare is good. Stuns in place too. But they may lose a whole bunch of plates in the process.
Does have access to the Triforce though, so he's not weak by any means. He's just being targeted a lot by the enemy team because they feel like Katsuri is probably their only major win condition left in this game. But with Doraemon having that TP still left on the top side, if he does want to impact bot side, if they go for a dive, if they overextend, he can absolutely take over the game.
He certainly can. First turret, another game, falling on down at 12.5 minutes. 4-1 on the Corki. And double Trinity Force has to be complete. Eclipse now picked up by Doraemon as well. So they've hit their power spike, their very first one of the game. And with nothing to play for the next minute, is there enough time for Direwolves to answer back?
Ooh, that's a scary Corki, Skimmy.
It is. It is. Nearly double digits. Nearly that. Of showcasing the Emphis, you're only a fraction higher than a support, which is not where you want to be.
This is very Raze-esque, we're very used to seeing the Corki being #1 on the gold meters yesterday. Maybe it might be the story of today again, Skimmy. Just this absolute, powerhouse gem in the mid game. He kind of gets priority or is able to match the power of most champs in the early game. Going to be really strong when he gets that Triforce power spike, and he scales extremely well into the game. So what can't this champ do?
Just a little bit too strong, and really at this stage it's a case of once again screaming out into the abyss, Riot, please change this and wait for another patch. But this is the one we're going to be playing on. This is what we're going to be used to going into playoffs as well. And certainly a chance, if it continues to be this stagnant, for teams to innovate and say, well, there are other counters out there. We don't just need to handshake these champions time and time again. It is time to get spicy.
And, even though we are seeing a gold leader right now, Skimmy, there is, one completed item on pretty much every member in the game right now. So I think these team fights will come down to execution.
They certainly will, and Mayfarm being the strongest one on the side of Direwolves is the one to be picked apart. Unfortunately, the ganking squad of 3 members finds him very easily inside the jungle. Shinky gonna answer back, go for the double CC combo, dropping everything onto the Nidalee, but the Primal Surge outweighs the Ignite, taking damage, and they deny any kind of retaliation. No 1-for-1 trade found so far. That Phosphorus Bomb is just bonkers how much that did from afar. And Emphis now no longer for the world. Another double kill. 6-1 now is the Corki, and a Dragon at their doorstep.
As easy as that. The Ion was the first one to strike Skimmy. They set up in the enemy jungle. They waited for someone to be mispositioned. That target was Mayfun. As we do go into the replay, this is the power of get the Triforce onto the Corki, pair that with the Nidalee Spear. Collie already has his Lich Bane, so he just does so much damage in these fights. And Emphis on the Orianna with the Shockwave just cannot find the the correct angle. They find Collie, they hit him with so much CC, but they're unable to get the execution on him. Lives with that Primal Surge, and after he gets out of here, there just is no money, no consultation price for the Direwolves.
Yeah, no threat, no way to escape this one. They rattled themselves into a pretty poor position and really made it very easy then for Ion to say, well, next one on the chopping block, we'll target you instead. Out of the replay, And we see Hex Flash surrounded by 3 now. Maybe a taste of his own medicine as he flashes to safety, and he does survive. Leona really is just that broken with those base stats from your W. They'll find another hook though, and they'll find another kill. That is the most important of them all, and maybe the ticket for Emphas to get back into this game.
Yeah, getting the shutdown onto Emphas there, but this fight is still extended, Skimmy. They're still looking for the plays. Six doesn't have the flash, but there is multiple members collapsing from multiple sides onto the Direwolves.
They certainly are. Shockwave onto 1, Sticks down to 50, Doraemon flanking. Mayfan and the rest of the Direwolves were praying in that top tri-bush that they could get the jump onto somebody, but he reveals himself. The rest of the team have left him. And Doraemon says, well, maybe I just entertain the 1v3. Pops the ultimate, goes in for the chains. That's to be flashed out by Emphas. He continues. He says, the only way I lose this is if I can't hit anybody to lifesteal back. So no more is to be found. And I think it's a clear indication that Chuggy's saying, I can't TP, I'm down bot.
Yeah, but he does pick himself up the, the bounty, gets himself that solo gold on the outer tower. Not going to be like, the inner tower gold. Ooh, the spear does miss by a margin. They are getting some gold, Skimmy, and I think that for the Direwolves comp, their next, point of attack is, when they hit those 2 item spikes, Jace, Xin Zhao, Ashe, they all spike very hard at 2 items, so they just need to be able to get these items and attack on, the next avenue that they find, because, looking across the board at the Ion members, they're all extremely accelerated, and we're already going to see Joby probably pick up his 3rd item, maybe even the components for the 4th item by the time those 2nd items come through, so this Nautilus hook needs to land.
It certainly does. Yeah, there's a very, very minute window in which they can look to try and exploit a bit of an even game state, whilst it's only 5,000 that they're behind. That is still within touching distance, and yes, you will have to continue to sacrifice more and more on the map. 6 grubs, 4 turrets,
Barrow.
And now a Herald to boot as well. They can continue to be the one in the driving seat, but it is going to be up to Shinky, like you said, to find these creative angles and to get the party started.
We do see Joby on the top tower. He's, not going for the tower. He's rotating for the fight. They want to contest this, Skimmy. They don't want to get the free objective.
Jumping across the wall goes Hex Flash, then baiting with that Hex Flash at the very start. Out goes Mayfan then with the Crescent Guard to say no more damage to be found. Nearly pixel perfect with that one expiring. And a true shot barrage down mid lane. Not to be found, and he gets away on a sliver of health.
And I think that goes to show what this series looks like, or what, Ion like to prioritize as a team, because we saw Joby had a free wave on the tower, sees 5 members in mid, could have done himself 700 gold and a bit of map press for his team, but rotates to the mid lane because they want to be able to take that fight. They don't want any risk to happen where, they could be outnumbered, and they just use the, map pressure from those side lanes, rotate, and get the tower anyway.
That they certainly do. With Shelly able to spawn an entire army of minions to do their bidding, they're going to have to utilize the smite to deny it from that next charge. 5 turrets now, Tally. This map is blown completely wide open. All that remains is that in the bot lane for the tier 2. And one might say, yeah, well, for Direwolves, it's easier for them to farm now. But on the other hand, it's a case of, well, yeah, Ion get more and more accelerated, and there is that 3rd item now.
There still is a bit of time until this game is completely blown out of proportion. That is when the Baron spawns in a minute and well, almost a minute and a half. But, when that one does come up, Direwolves do have the damage in their inventory, and they do have the, the fact that both these inner towers are down in the mid and the top lane to be able to get extremely deep vision. And Direwolves will feel so scared walking into the top side to be able to, face check, contest the objective. It should be a pretty comfortable objective take for the side of Ion, and with that one, might be the game closer for them.
So it could be the game closer unless we can find that Phantom Dancer for Katsuri absolutely ASAP. That could be the difference for the uptime, because for the majority of this game, he has been untouched. He is still deathless, the only one in this game, because they just don't focus him. They ignore him. They kill everybody around him. But we certainly know what an Ashe can do when given a chance to work her magic. So much damage and so much CC, soft CC, I suppose, to then guarantee the lockdown that Direwolves have put together. Shockwave is there, going to be holding it, waiting. And I almost suppose going to say, well, we'll take this one to the base and see if you're keen to try and take an inhibitor.
And that's all inner towers down on the map. This gold lead still isn't extending, though. It's stagnating at this point because there's just so much farm being funneled into the Direwolves members. They will be losing their jungle camps, though, and that's the major thing. Mayfan is going to be the person who suffers the most from this map state. He's the only one who's not going to be getting any resources because his camps are constantly being stolen away, and his laners all want to be taking all the farm for themselves. As he does go on a bit of a solo, dewarding mission. Could be a very scary experience if you knew where the enemy was, but fortunately no one there to punish him. Going to be able to get some control on the top side, hopefully, as they do keep away this dragon. They need to get some semblance of vision control down so they can find that, the Ashe arrow, because the 2 items have come through for Katsuri.
But that's it, yeah, there is the Phantom Dancer, but that is the Dragon going across, as to be expected. With the Baron spawning, it's a clear indication that Direwolves are all in on this play. That would be the Hail Mary to prevent them from falling down behind by, what, 10,000 gold, which in majority of cases is just not recoverable from. So you'd imagine it's going to be a case of all their vision goes towards top, and you can see quite clearly that is all they're looking at right now.
Yeah, but they haven't gone for that dewarding yet, Skimmy. I mentioned how they can get so much deep control, but they're going straight away for the Baron. This could be a mistake, Skimmy, without, you know, denying the enemy walking in. This is going to be a flip, or they have to play that turn straight away. Mayfarn Smite does the same damage as Coley, so they really need to turn from this Baron. They do not want to be able to flip this objective right now.
You certainly don't want to be taking a gamble on this one. That's a massive shockwave. Is there the follow-up? That's what we're asking for right now. They've dropped members down to 50%. In jumps Mayfarn with the Crescent Guard play. Dropping lower and lower, but he's living. He's sustaining. He's persevering through all of this punishment. And would you believe it? They've lost nobody but taking down 2.
What a shockwave from Enfys there, Skimmy. You know, if he was just a little bit more fed, that could have been almost that instant triple kill we saw in times past out of Jovi himself. So what a play from Direwolves, and I think, you know, I mentioned they didn't have any vision control. Direwolves see them on this objective the entire time. They all funnel this objective. The shockwave lands onto every single crucial member of the enemy team. And then with Mayfarn following it up, creating so much space, I mentioned how the Xin Zhao can absorb so much damage from these AD carries because there just isn't that major AD threat besides Doraemon on the Aatrox to be able to take him down in these fights. And if the fights keep looking like this, Skimmy, I talked about that ease of access, the ease of the ability to do damage is what will allow them to outscale their opponents.
Absolutely. It just feels a little bit disrespectful at this point here, Telly. The fact that you can walk into a choke spot like that and say, yo, what's this, Orianna going to do? There's no way to hit the shockwave. Well, they do.
They're doing it again.
And quite honestly, could have really found more than 3, as multiple members had to burn literally every summoner and more just to get out of there with their life intact. Baron attempt number 2 then. Started up here by Ion, getting lower and lower, closer to that smite range. It's not looking like a 50-50 unless they hold it at this 2k margin, just shy of the smite. Oh, I got worried for a second if Mayfarn was going to steal it away. It's not to be the case. Iron with the steady hands and Cole Lee with the guarantee that we will get this job done. He's down to literally 1%, but he stands around, waits for the heal, and empowers this team to finish off the job. Katsuri, the only one yet to die, and he doesn't feel like, finding that fate anytime soon.
You know, I gotta give it to them, Skimmy. Even though that play was rushed, they had very good discipline around the Baron. They held it on that 2.5k mark. They waited for Mayfarn's W to fall off on the Baron because his E does not have that range to jump over the wall without the mark from the W, which extends his E. So, you know, they waited for that one to drop off, then used their literally execute onto the Baron, secured themselves the free objective, and, you know, that was just really well played by them. Maybe Direwolves had the potential to be able to burst with the Ori Shockwave over the wall and steal that, but just well played to Ion.
That certainly is. You'd think at a bare minimum they should have been able to find 2 inhibitors. That one just hanging on by a thread there. Maybe a little bit of Lady Luck going the way of Direwolves. But a 10k lead now as a result of this one. And agonizingly close to another burger flip.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. They held this Baron at the point where he cannot do that with himself. And I think that Direwolves need to execute as a team. Be like, all right, I'm going in, let's throw our burst now, and just flip the smite. Because being able to be in that situation where the game is flipped on that Baron smite buys you some more time, and it's your best case scenario pretty much.
So it was the best case scenario. That was their ticket back in. It doesn't really detract from the fact that they can still be hoping for these wonder engages and claiming multiple bounties. But a little bit harder now to lock down one member in particular. Jovi's already hit his 4th item at 23 minutes. He's just rushed straight out for the scimitar and says, you know what? You can no longer hurt me, and I'm going to cleanse it of everything you throw towards me.
This is a very nice buy from Jovi. You know, it's not the best buy, not the highest damage, not the best defensive item either, but it denies the enemy a win condition. You know, there's all of a sudden, you can't use the Ash Arrow onto Jovi. You can't, like, hit him with a root on Lawless because he always has that QSS potential to disengage from any engage coming out of the enemy. And it's just really nice to buy it when you're so far ahead, because even though it is an item, you could go for that. I.e., I hold my point is we do see the fight happening top lane.
We certainly do see a fight breaking out. He just goes into the lane and says, here's my ultimate, what are you going to do about it? There's your jungler. I don't simply care. Easy, easy, easy. Really no contest from Shungi at all.
Yeah, I thought that one would have been a lot closer based on the inventories. They are very similar in items, but it's the power of the Aatrox. He just gets on top of you. You're a squishy champion. You know, consider yourself an AD carry pretty much when you're in that range form. You're going to get absolutely blown up. And it's just well played by him. They're going to use that Baron to siege onto 3 inhibitors. And Jovi is diving the Nexus Tower, Skibby.
Of course he is. The man always keen for a good little bit. Burns the flash to start things off. Triple inhibitors taken and super minions galore right now. The game is done. The game is set. The shockwave is good, but just not enough. Inside the fountain, they get farmed. There is the ace to close out the game, and in a 25-minute fashion, a very convincing Ion win to guarantee full spot.
And I was curious that if Katsuri was going to be able to finish that game deathless, but they do get him in the end there as you do see Sticks popping out the curls. I'm not sure if he should be celebrating after that performance we saw in the bot lane, but a win's a win, Skimmy. And I think that one does go to Jovi in the mid lane. I think that he was that solo carry performance. He was that difference for the team, and he is the reason they won that game.
That he certainly is. Incredibly aggressive, a matchup that I was excited for, and a one that delivered on multiple fronts. There you have it, though. Ion with this 1-0, guaranteed that they are the team outright in 4th spot, battling with the big dogs. As for Direwolves, it's a chance to